Bears have reported. We finally did it. You've been bitching about summer for a little while. You ready for football? You're tired of people with the boots on the ground. You're tired of the hot, humid heat. It ain't over yet.
I'm tired of the YNs with their hoodies and they shiesties and they extended Glocks hiding in their hoodies. YN season needs to be done.
I'm tired of the unks out here on their slingshots with a system full of honey packs and blue chews.
And 90s R&B freaky man music.
Nothing is weirder than out of nowhere. Listen, I'm coming out of Jerkville. Nothing is weirder. You expect to hear like regular noise, but then all you hear is Silk. There's a meeting in my bedroom. Like coming from somebody's speakers. You look around like, come on, bro. Bro just freaky on the slingshot just out of nowhere. You're 51 years old. Go sit down somewhere, bro.
Yeah, that got to end. We got to get back to 50 and 60 degree weather, bear weather days so we can get off these slingshots.
Wait no further. The Bears have reported to camp. It's time to put the pads on and do this shit for real, Q. But first, we got to have our introductory press conferences. The actual first practice isn't until 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. We're recording this Tuesday night, July 22nd. So let's talk about those press conferences. Since, we're so amped up to talk about football. Let's talk about people talking about football. I'm going to play a game with you first. Which one of these key points out of these press conferences perked up your antennas the highest? Impose announcing that Jalen Johnson, the best player on the team probably, is placed on an NFI list along with Case Keenum. There was Ben Johnson telling Caleb that he had some homework and that his goal for him this year was that he is going to complete 70% of his passes. Ben Johnson also commented on the left tackle competition. He said it is a three-way competition for who's going to start between Braxton Jones, Izzy Trapillo, and Kyron Amagaju. Ben Johnson also said that Darnell Wright will remain at right tackle, which we assumed he would be. Ryan Post said that Colston Loveland, he is ready to go. He's fully healthy and he's ready to go. And last but not least, last bullet point, Grady Jarrett. He said he does not do ramp up periods. He goes, quote unquote, balls to the wall every day. My man listened to a lot of Yin Yang twins.
Keep your balls off the wall, Mr. Grady, please.
We just painted those walls. Just please. He says that he likes to callous his body. I like that phrase that he used. He wants to callous his body till he can sustain a long season. He's an 11-year vet. So if he says it, this is how you got to get ready for the season, I'm all with it. But Q, out of all those bullet points, which one?
That's Caleb, 70% of passes. That's Ben Johnson directly challenging his starting quarterback, not just in private, but in public. That's setting a high standard. That's letting us know that, hey, Caleb, I believe in you. And, hey, Caleb, I have expectations of you. That's what I heard from the completing 70% of the passes. That's letting me know they're running a offense that's going to be highly functional, highly efficient, and going to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. Also, that tells me they're not necessarily let me not say they're not going to be aggressive down the field, but that lets me know that there's going to be the ball. The ball is going to be in the hands of guys who can make plays after the catch. You got DeAndre Swift, you got Luther Burden, you got DJ Moore, you got Roma Dunze. I like that. I mean, safe throws where guys make people miss and get a lot of run after the catch. I like that. So that's what perked up my antennas the most. I love Ben Johnson. I love Ben Johnson's whole press conference. If anybody's winning the offseason with a press conference, it's Ben Johnson, the most refreshing coach I've heard speak in the offseason in my time as a Bear fan.
I heard the 70%, and I also was like, lofty goals. I like it. Caleb Williams completed 62% of his passes as a rookie. Ben Johnson noted that he wants Caleb to get better completing passes going to his left. He said that's a weak point that he showed in the OTAs. And so definitely challenging the young man. And that's been the whole ethos of the whole offseason. Ben Johnson came into the door day one, challenging everyone on, not just everyone on the team, but everyone in the building. Everyone needs to be their best self. And that's how you get, to steal a line from Grady Jarrett, that's how you callous your body, callous your mind to become a winner. You got to keep drilling. You got to keep drilling in Chicago.
Agree. And like I said, I like Ben Johnson whole approach with the press conference. Definitely excited as a Bear fan. Most excited I've been in a long time. The fro. I know. All right, so
that's probably the thing that we had. That's the thing that excited us the most when we heard it. But the most important thing that came out of these press conferences was the news that Jalen Johnson, the Bears' best player, is going to start camp on an NFI list. NFI, Q, what does that stand for, Q?
Non-football injury.
So NFI, Jalen Johnson, he started on NFI there. When he was training, he had a leg injury. I'm not going to get into details of that. It is going to take a few weeks before he can come back. We got a lot of faith that he's going to put in the time to rehab and be his full self when he comes back. I'm sure we'll have updates as we go through training camp. But it's going to take a little bit of time, but not overly concerned about long term.
Would training be a non-football injury? Would lifting weights on your own? I mean, Jalen talked about his struggle with being a sex fiend. I hope he didn't strain something, strain a groin being a freaky man. Like,
hey, addiction is a real thing, man. So, I hope he didn't backslide. I'm hoping, to your point, that Jalen Johnson did not backslide and extend too far his
backstrokes. Yeah. Be safe out there. It's not talked about, but there are many medical emergencies that extend from rough sex. Lots of people in the ER getting a little too putting a little too much razzle dazzle, putting a little too much dip on their chip, literally and figuratively. You got to be careful. Safe sex just isn't with a condom. It's practicing moves. It's perfecting your craft so you don't get injured. Warm up. If you're over 30, start warming up.
You got to stretch. I thought he was a porn addict.
No, I think he was a sex addict.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I don't want to say was. I don't want to. I don't know. He said he was dealing with it. I don't know if he's conquered it, but whatever.
Football player, you got to watch film. If you want to be a great sex addict, you probably got to watch the film for sex addicts, and that's porn. So I'm sure there's some people that may just be naturally talented, but I'm sure that the best sex addicts they watch film.
Got to callus the body.
Callus the body.
Tiffany wants us to move it along.
You're full of shit.
Shout out Tiffany. We should see her returning soon. She don't do training camp and practice. She's like Aaron Rodgers. She just shows up, ready to play. She don't believe in ramping up either. Tiffany doesn't believe in ramping up. She just hops right into the season.
That's exactly how she told me. She said, "Listen, just week 1, let me know what's happening." So we put on the schedule come week 1. Ryan Poles, he did say he's not, quote unquote, overly concerned with this injury from Jalen Johnson. Now, I listened to 670. I listened to the guys at ESPN 1000, Waddle Civi, all the rest of the guys, the guys that do great work over there at CHGO. They all heard the same thing I heard, the overly part. What does that mean? You're not overly concerned. That means there is some concern, right?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't reassuring to me. Like the Bears are really vague on injuries, and that didn't necessarily. I mean, what that tells me is he's not lost for the season, but that tells me, will he be back for week 1? That sounds like it's up in the air. We're at the end of July. He said a few weeks. Few weeks puts us deep into August. A few
Right.
weeks, give or take, a couple weeks. I mean, not to sound the alarm, but the 49ers weren't overly concerned about Christian McCaffrey last year. And then I didn't have him
Right.
for week 1 on Monday night and lost the matchup by like 7 points. And then I didn't have him for week 2 and week 3. You get the point. We're not here to complain about lost fantasy seasons. But yeah, that does nothing to reassure me right now. That means the Bears got to rely on Tyreek Stevenson maybe a lot more than they anticipated. What turned out to be a year where Tyreek Stevenson may be where he was supposed to be getting pushed in training camp by his the guy they drafted with Terrell Smith, the guy who took some snaps from him last year, and a rookie they took this year, Zah Frazier. Looks like Tyreek becomes very necessary as your only outside corner with experience returning. I mean, Kyler Gordon is more of a nickelback. I'm sure he'll be while Jalen is out, he'll be looking at the outside, but Tyreek is the most experienced outside corner right now.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So we talked about, again, for the 5th time, callusing the body. We want the Bears offense to not come out of training camp, not come out of the preseason the way they did last year. Struggling to get everybody on the same page, struggling to get 13 points, first downs, everything. Just struggling as a whole unit. So you would like to see them against the defense as much as possible. And you want to see your ones as against the in the joint practice as well. Not having Jalen Johnson available, it doesn't necessarily put the defense behind. It puts the offense behind.
Good
because
point.
now Caleb isn't going against an All-Pro. DJ Moore is not going against an All-Pro. They're not getting the best reps they could be getting.
Yeah, they're not getting the body callus, and even more important, the defensive back room was not a major concern going into camp. Assuming Jaquan Brisker returns to health and doesn't have the unfortunate concussion. But now you start to get thin in that defensive secondary because, like you said, DJ Moore isn't going against an all-pro top corner. Neither is Roma Dunze, neither is Caleb Williams. And now, with the attrition in training camp, what if something happens to Tyreek or Kyler Gordon? Now you're down to guys like Zah Frazier, Terrell Smith. I'm not sure of I know they signed a guy that originally was with Minnesota as a 3rd-round pick, but you're getting guys that are inexperienced. The Bears don't really have experienced guys in that defensive backfield. Jalen Johnson's been pretty reliable. Tyreek Stevenson, despite the blunder last year, he's been physically pretty much available during his 3 years. Kyler Gordon's missed a game here or there, but you've also had Terrell Smith. He's been pretty consistently available. I wonder now with this Jalen Johnson injury, if you do want to seek a veteran out there who's still available, at least for reassurance and a training camp body. I think there's a couple veteran corners out there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears are going to start looking, to make some phone calls and get a couple veterans in there.
I would be shocked if they do that. But they definitely need some depth.
So Frazier, that was their 5th-round pick this year. They drafted. Dennis Allen really likes him. He's a long corner. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", but still, I think he's 25, so he's mature, but he hasn't stepped on the NFL field. He's from a smaller college.
Definitely not ready, because you know how Poles draft picks are. Getting guys in the weeds. They're not ready. They're projects. Poles loves the projects. Do not put another project out there in a starter position week 1.
Please.
We don't need to see that.
That's not what I want to see lining up across from Justin Jefferson or Addison in week 1.
Well, Addison might not be there. Addison
forgot.
might be locked.
I forgot. Addison is in a
Might be
little bit.
suspended.
You're right. Still don't want to see that guy lined up across Justin Jefferson. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I don't care who you line up across him, he's always a threat, and you don't want to see him, period. But if I got to see Justin Jefferson, give me my best corner. Give me my healthy Jalen Johnson. I know Justin Jefferson will slide to the slot a lot, so you might see him against Kyler Gordon. But I want all my weapons against that guy, particularly that guy. And then you play CeeDee Lamb early in the season too. That's another guy you got to be well prepared for.
Past Jalen Johnson, there was a lot of talk from Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson was the star of the day, right? We already talked about Caleb Williams and his desire to have Caleb Williams complete 70% of his passes. A lot of that stuff we did talked ad nauseum last season. Some of the stuff was Caleb holding the ball too long, which young players tend to do. Young quarterbacks tend to do. They got to see it instead of feel it, right? They got to learn to feel it, and not just see it. Especially a lot of this one we talked about enough. Young players, college players, they particularly play in the spread and shotgun too much. You get the pros, you'll do some of that, but you're gonna have to play under center too, and that's an adjustment period. And Caleb, he was under center a lot with the Bears his rookie season, so there were some growing pains there, and that led to a lot of sacks.
He'll be on the center more, under Ben Johnson. A lot of play action in this offense. You got to be on the center for that.
So, and that was all of this was a talking point for Ben Johnson. He wanted Caleb Williams to improve in these 3 areas: the footwork, his being decisive, that leads to 70% completion, and taking what the defense gives him. Hitting that check down right when getting through your reads quicker. Like, okay, the defense is not giving me that. I don't need to stay there on DJ Moore too long. Let's get through the progressions and get and take what's there, because the defense is gonna give you something. Everybody can't be defended, right?
Right.
So, out of those 3 things, which one do you think is most crucial for the Bears' second-year quarterback to have a successful season?
Improving the footwork, because the foundation of what he needs to be as a quarterback, it all starts with your footwork. I mean, there were some passes that failed on him. Everybody talks about. I know you've seen the offseason banter and talk from pundits who talk about his downfield completion percentage and how it wasn't good. That is footwork based. There were a lot of plays where him and DJ Moore just weren't on the same page, but some of the overthrows on the deep balls were because his footwork wasn't right. So footwork, getting that, I think, is the most important thing. So I think just that alone will make Caleb more lethal. Just that alone will push him over the 4,000-yard mark. I think nailing that footwork down just will make this offense just more lethal. And Caleb Williams more lethal in year 2. It'll open up a lot of things underneath for him, and it'll make life easier on him. So, I mean, they're all important, but that footwork, that footwork is a big thing that I want to see him get all the way together. Not that he was just terrible on footwork, but I just want to see him master that craft, though.
Ben is watching a lot, but he's digging into a lot more film than what I did. I watched the game maybe 3 times at most. So, and I haven't done that since week 18. So I didn't notice any glaring issues with Caleb's footwork last season, but I would definitely agree that that his maybe inability to, I guess, make the easy play, and I don't think that's all on Caleb. I think the cluster F that they had going on up there in Lake Forest, and what they put on the field on Sundays, stemming from Eberflus on down. I think that came through Caleb's play. When the news came out about the book and Caleb not getting coached up by Eberflus and Shane Waldron, they're not doing any film study with him, stuff like that. Caleb said, I took off, but I just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself. And when you decide to do it yourself, you started doing some cowboy stuff. Shout out to Cowboy Carter, coming to a city near you. When you start doing it that yourself, you are definitely going to look for home runs more often than not, right? And those were Caleb's best weeks, in my opinion. Playing off schedule, that's not what Ben wants you to do. So I can see where the gripes are coming from Ben. Like, I want you to be on schedule. I want you to be quick on schedule. So I want you to meld the two. I want you to do what you did was great, but I want you to do it. I want you to bring that greatness to my schedule. With it.
And Ben Johnson, he's elaborated and said he's not trying to change who Caleb Williams is. Like, the things he's able to do when the play breaks down, Ben Johnson loves that. That is a luxury that not many quarterbacks in the NFL have. You know, the athleticism Caleb has. While he may not be Lamar level athlete or combine the size and intangibles that Josh Allen has, he's a pretty good athlete at the quarterback position. So you never want to alleviate that or take that out of his game. So Ben Johnson really won the conference with me. And one of the things that resonated with me from Ben Johnson was he stated that he has an experienced coaching staff by design. You know, he said, I'm a first-time head coach. I'm going to be in the first time, really managing the whole. He had some experience with game management because he was calling the plays in Detroit, but managing the whole team. And he talked about relying on your network, relying on the people around you. And when Eberflus got here, what did he have? Luke Getsy, a guy who wasn't a play caller in his previous stop with the Packers. There was a lot of guys who were in their first time doing the job. I can't even remember who the defensive coordinator was who got fired for inappropriate behavior. But there were a lot of guys that didn't have experience. Even going back to Nagy. Nagy's 2018 season was a magical year for Bears fans that ended on a horrible note. But the offensive coordinator, Mark Heisel, whatever the name was a guy, he wasn't even calling the plays, but Matt Nagy was a first-time head coach and a first-time play caller. The experience came from the defensive side of the ball with Vic Fangio, and we saw how that unit performed. So I felt like, Ben Johnson was having a vulnerable moment telling us that, hey, I'm learning too. But he also stated that when they were talking about the offense and the install, he said, we don't know if we're going to be a wide zone scheme versus a gap scheme. I like that because Ben is getting to know his personnel and what they do best. He didn't come here with, I have this idea for the offense. I ran this in Detroit. I'm going to run this here, and this is the way it's going to work because this is the way No, you got to scheme to your personnel. You got to do what fits for your team. So that's something that's really refreshing that we haven't seen a lot coming from Bears in the past. We've had guys come in here and they install what they know. Even Vic Fangio, very good defense coordinator. I'll never deny that. But what did he bring when he 3-4? That's what he wanted to run. That's what he had been running. Dave Wanstead came here and ran. I forgot what the Cowboys had a 4-3, and I can't remember what the exact scheme, but he came here and he installed that. Lovie Smith came here and installed his Tampa too. Lovie Smith's scheme worked, but I like that Ben Johnson is saying, "Hey, we're going to do what fits best for our personnel." So that's where Ben Johnson really wanted with me. It's not we're going to do this my way or the highway. I'm going to learn. I'm learning too, because Bill Belichick with the Patriots, the first Patriots Super Bowl team didn't resemble the last Patriots Super Bowl team. They went from a heavy run team with Tom Brady being a game manager to Tom Brady really driving the boat. Their defensive scheme also changed. So I think the best franchises are adaptable. So that's what I took from Ben Johnson's conference, adaptability. And I think you need that in the NFL to be a successful team.
He did specify that 70% completion percentage is it's a lofty goal. I think maybe maybe 5 or 6 all time have completed 70%. I mean,
I think Drew
full
Brees
start.
is one of them.
Yeah, Drew Brees did. I think we had 2 guys do it last year, something like that.
I know Sam Bradford got close one year, but Sam Bradford was kind of smoke and mirrors. He did 69%. He had the record for a while, but Sam wasn't throwing the ball downfield. So that didn't impress me because Sam was hitting check downs and being safe and taking sacks to preserve that completion percentage. And you saw when he got in other offenses when he was healthy that when he had to really throw the ball, really let it go, he wasn't as effective. But yeah, 70% lofty goal. And I like it.
Let's play this sound from Caleb.
Self goals. And that's, being the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears history. That's a, goal of mine. 70% completion. That helps the team, keeps us on the field, puts us in better positions. And then other than that, just trying to go down and, score the most points that we can with each drive that we have. So, that's kind of my self goal. And obviously other than that, you got to go win. That's success for me. That's success for the team. And, that's all we wish for and all I wish for.
I don't think that's putting too much pressure, but great players also they set high goals. That's what they do.
Making the NFL is a high goal. I mean,
Yeah.
Think about all the players, all the football players, from Pop Warner on up.
Millions of high schoolers.
Millions, right? And then it gets weeded down when you get to D1, even D2 and D3. It's still weeded down, and then you get to draft day. What's it? 200 some odd are drafted.
That's it. Out of the thousands in college football.
Right. Just making it this far is a lofty goal. So these players are used to saying from an early age, like, yeah, I'm going to achieve something that is impossible. So 70%, hey, that's you, big dog. I can't wait to clap it up for you when you do it. Another thing that Ben Johnson wants Caleb to work on is his pre-snap procedure. Again, one of those things we heard about a lot in the OTAs. Just getting the calls out quickly and fluidly to your teammates, executing efficiently, getting your checks and alerts, and just making sure that you guys are ready to go as soon as you break the huddle, and making sure you break the huddle in a quick way. Caleb Williams, he said his personal goals, in addition to that 70% completion rate, he wants to be the first Bears quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards.
Love it.
I love it too. Again, lofty goals. 4,000 yards isn't a lofty goal. Everybody, it seems like everyone.
If you're a Bear quarterback, it is. It's something no Bear has ever done before. Eric Kramer was the closest, and that's coming up on 30 years ago. He threw for 3,800.
It's getting close. Was it 30? I thought it was 30. It was 38. Yeah, it's getting close. I think it was, what's that, 97?
95.
95, okay. Yeah, it's getting close. Ooh, that's 30 years this year.
30 years this year.
God dang it.
Break Eric Kramer's
40
record.
years.
Listen, Caleb, I can't. I like Eric Kramer as a kid. I know how you feel about Jay Cutler. I had a love-hate relationship with Jay Cutler, but we got to get those names about the record book. No disrespect to Eric Kramer. I know you like to disrespect Jay Cutler, but them names have to get up off the record book. With Sid Luckman, Wade Wilson, these guys were quarterbacks when the best thing quarterback could do was turn around and hand the ball off. They have to get up off the records. It's time.
They were quarterbacks when it was illegal to be black.
Yeah, when if you could throw the ball as a black man, they said go play running back or wide receiver. That's what you go do. You couldn't even play safety. Remember, safety was a position where they felt only high intellect players. But you had to go play corner.
Uh-huh.
Did Trump sign an executive? Never mind. I don't want to make my MAGA fans more mad anymore. So
you were right about one thing, Q. I do enjoy dragging Jay Cutler's name through the mud. He dragged the Bears through the mud long enough. I'm gonna drag his name. I damn near give myself a groin injury dragging Jay Cutler's name. Which one do you think is more likely? 4,000 yards or 66.5% completion percentage for Caleb Williams?
4,000 yards or 6. I think he gets them both. I think 4,000 yards is just a formality if he plays 17 games. If he's healthy for 16, I think he eclipses 4,000. 66%, I think that's attainable too. I mean, you look at the work Ben Johnson did with Jared Goff. Remember, Jared Goff, his career was at a crossroads going to the line.
Uh-huh.
In fact, he was a throw in the Matthew Stafford trade. It was basically take this guy, you'll get first round picks. He'll be your. Remember, Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback when he came to the Lions. His career reached that point where he was kind of a bridge guy. He's a franchise guy. So I have faith in Ben Johnson. I have faith in the weapons around Caleb Williams. And shout out to Colson Loveland. Ben Johnson singled him out. Cole Kmet, boy, you gotta be on your stuff. Um, Ben Johnson said Colston Loveland was the guy he saw the most in the building. He saw them all attacking, aggressively attacking rehab. Cole Kmet, you're on notice, buddy. You are on notice. So I really like the weapons around Caleb. So I think both of them are obtainable. If I had to say one or the other, if you put a gun to my head, say one or the other, I would say the 4,000 yards.
I would think 66.5% is way more attainable. Simple fact that's damn near average for a starting quarterback right now. I think 67. Once you get that, it's once you get 67 and above, that's when the elite. That's where the elite play.
Have we had a quarterback complete over 65% of his passes?
It definitely wasn't Jay Cutler. Unless if you add in the interceptions.
If you add in interceptions, yes, because those were about 30 more completions per year.
I can't recall ever seeing anybody drop any of his interceptions. I think those were the easiest passes he threw.
He definitely threw a very catchable interception, whereas Mitch Trubisky threw a very uncatchable. I remember Mitch Trubisky's would-be interceptions getting dropped so many times. I'm like, he throws such a bad ball that even the defensive backs can't get a hold of this. I mean, yeah, but I mean, Mitch had to lead the league in uncatchable interceptions, maybe uncatchable passes. There were some passes that Mitch threw that I'm like, I don't even know who the intended receiver is.
Right. The thing that we're going to pay attention to the most in camp is that left tackle battle. Braxton Jones.
He's quite all the way healthy yet.
Okay.
If that's what I took from the press conference.
He's ramping up. He's about ready to start actually defending his job. Q, are you concerned about this right now? Because they say the left tackle position is the second most important position on the team because it takes the number one most important position on the team. So are you concerned that, for one, we didn't have too much faith in Braxton Jones to begin with anyway? I mean, he was an okay player. He's an okay player left tackle. But now his job might actually be won by Kyron Amagachi or a third Ozzie Trapillo. Does that concern you that we can possibly have a rookie or a disaster from last season, Kyron Amagachi, starting week 1, protecting the blind side of Caleb Williams?
Definitely concerning because you got a guy, and I believe Ozzie Trapillo spent a lot of his time at Boston College at right tackle. So you have a guy who spent majority of his career not protecting the blind side and is going to be tasked with protecting a young quarterback against ferocious pass rush starting the season. You know Brian Flores is salivating. He's going to throw all sorts of stunts and blitzes and crazy things at Trapillo or Amagachi if that's a starter. So it's very concerning. I think with Braxton Jones, you get a certain level of security if he's healthy. Like I said, we neither of us are overly excited about Braxton as a left tackle, as a stalwart, but you kind of you understand where his floor is. You know, like you said, Kyron's start at left tackle last year was absolutely brutal. In fact, it was terrifying. You almost felt afraid for Caleb back there. So it's definitely concerning. I think that's probably more concerning than Jalen Johnson being injured, for the fact that I think Dennis Allen can scheme around. As long as you're getting Jalen Johnson back at some point in camp, or even early in the season, you're okay with that. Yeah, this is it's scary that you're entrusting the franchise #1 pick quarterback with possibly two inexperienced guys.
For me, Braxton Jones got to win this job.
Interesting.
I think it is an indictment on the left tackle. I mean, it's an indictment on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
If Braxton Jones, if he's healthy, and again, this is positive. If he tries to rush back and he's not, he can't actually compete for his job. That's something totally different. But I'm assuming when he steps out on the field fully padded, that he's healthy and he can do what he's supposed to do. But if he's healthy and he can't win that job, all the work that we did improving that line, it comes down to peg, because I don't care for the experience of Kyron Amagaju. I'm gonna just throw out what I saw from him last year against the Vikings. I'm gonna throw that out. I definitely don't care for the experience of Trapillo. I don't know why Ryan Poles went back-to-back years drafting guys from nerd schools to play left tackle.
More offense to our Boston College listeners.
They know they're nerds. I mean, what do you mean? They know they're nerds. I'm not saying I'm new. I mean, it'd been something different. I called
Ryan
dorks.
Poles went to Boston College, so there's probably his affinity for wanting to draft Trapillo. But they say Ben Johnson's a big Trapillo fan, though. They said Ben Johnson was a big Trapillo, big Colston Loveland, and big Luther Burden fan.
He better be fans because he picked them, right? I don't buy into everything that I'm hearing. Everything's been rosy this offseason. Some of it's
Cole Kmet.
Just right. Most of it, minus the Cole Kmet.
He sounds like he's going to be joining Justin in New York soon. Every tight end has been praised but Cole Kmet. So Ben Johnson went out his way to praise Colston Loveland. He even praised a guy named Joe Wilson. I don't know if you've looked further down the depth chart, but Joe Wilson got praised.
Who was Joe Wilson?
Well, he's somebody that's impressed Ben Johnson. Ben might actually hate Cole Kmet.
He might. You draft your backup. The first draft pick you make after the team, you draft your backup like, damn, he hate me. Shout out to he hate me. But yeah, I mean, if Braxton, I'm gonna be a little less optimistic if I hear that Braxton Jones is starting the season as a reserve. It wouldn't sit right with me.
If Braxton doesn't, if he's not opening week 1 as your starter, I would think that you would be trying to move him for draft capital. And I think as a guy who's had experience starting at left tackle for 3 years, I think you should be able to get something for him. There's no point of, he's heading into the last year of his contract. There's no point of leaving that guy on the roster when he's obviously got no futures to bear. If he doesn't win week 1, even if he wins week 1, I mean, this is probably Braxton's swan song. We know how this goes in the NFL. They're probably not dedicating cap resources to him. You've drafted 2 guys who could play left tackle in the last 2 years, and you have draft picks next year. They're not giving Braxton Jones money. Even if we aren't impressed by Braxton Jones, just being a starting left tackle in this league, he's going to command at 10 to 17 million per year. on the open market. So we're not going to see Braxton next year. So I have a little differing opinion on that. I don't know if you listen to Waddle and Sylvie. Sylvie is a big Trapillo backer, and he wants him to win the job week one. And I kind of understand it. So I'm going to hit you with this. Trapillo was a second-round pick. They invested their second round pick in him. He's a mountain of a man. Ben Johnson loves him. Braxton Jones is probably a lame duck. Maybe you want Trapillo winning. Maybe you want Trapillo winning because if Trapillo and you want Braxton Jones looking good, because maybe you can move Braxton Jones for something, even if it's a 4th or 5th round pick. So for me personally, I want Trapillo to win it. I want the guy that we invested draft capital. I need Ryan Poe's draft picks to start panning out. Let me make that clear. I need these guys to start being high contributors on this team. I don't need more guys developing and sitting on the bench and then getting moved or not making a team. We already lost a 3rd round pick in Velus Jones. I mean, I'm not saying every pick has to be boom, but we got nothing out of Velus. Like, didn't contribute. And Zach Pickens, a guy we picked in the 3rd round 3 years ago, looks like he's not going to make the team. That's another pick, not contributing anything. You can't have too many of these misses in the first 3 rounds. You got to have, in the first 3 rounds, you should be drafting guys who are either Pro Bowlers or frontline starters, or at the very least, high-end rotational guys. That's what it's got to be in the first 3 rounds. You can't have guys that can't even be on the field like Velus and Zach Pickens. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, change that battery out again.
Yeah, it would need. I just changed it. I mean, I think black people smoke alarms and carbon monoxide. I think they do this on purpose. I just changed it. Why are you chirping at me?
FBI is definitely on that with us.
Yeah.
I think they tried that. They tried that with Martin Luther King. Hoover, they tried to drive him crazy by steady switching out his fire alarm batteries and putting some weak ones in there so the beat would just drive him crazy. I think that's what it started.
Me crazy. That's what keep looking at it. Because why now? Why are you doing this now on the podcast?
All right, let's finish up talking about your boy Grady Jarrett. This was probably the addition in free agency that excited you the most, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear what he had to say during the press conference real quick.
So, like you say, encouraging words, stuff like that. But also, more than just encouraging words, telling somebody a good time. Sometimes you got to talk a little mess to them, or challenge them, give them difficulty. So by the time the game come, nothing gonna phase them, And so it's love, but it's gonna be like big brother love, And because you want the best for him, but and he want to do his best, but we gotta put a tough defense out there for him to face. We gotta talk a little smack, but also in between time we gotta hang out, we gotta break bread, eat together, stuff like that. So I think he's gonna be more than ready to go, and that's the preparation of everybody, just all hands on deck. And everybody want to see him do his best, man. The talent he got is, out of this world, but I think he'd be the first to tell you, come with putting in that hard work, daily grind. And that's what I've been super impressed with so far, being his teammate so far, just how bought in, committed he is to really try to achieve greatness, man. I can't wait for the world to see it.
Okay. I didn't think much about them when they signed Grady Jarrett. Like, okay, he's a vet guy. They bringing him in. We definitely needed some more help rushing the passer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely needed some help on the front line in general. But hearing stuff like that makes me feel like they didn't just improve the defensive line. They also improved one of those areas that the Bears struggled with the most last year. And that's the lack of leadership.
Bingo.
Do you hear the same thing in that press conference?
I definitely do. That's one of the reasons why I was excited about Grady Jarrett. Not only has he been a productive player with the Falcons, now he hasn't had the last 2 years that he probably would have liked to have. But when you tear ACL mid-season and you're coming back, that affects 2 years. But yeah, the Bears have lacked leadership, personality, and identity on both sides of the ball. So getting a personality like Grady, I just hope that the football is still there. Because having personality and leadership only means so much if you can't play football. Shout out Mercedes Lewis. That was a guy I wanted brought back last year. You didn't like him, and boy, he didn't do anything to make us like him at all. Like he was old and clearly was retired. Clearly was not ready to play football last year. Was Mercedes Lewis? I mean, that was evident by the numerous penalties, pre-snap penalties he received. Matty Eberflus decided that guy didn't need to train in camp, so he just sat there in flip-flops and then decided to get onto the field. I don't think we'll have that problem this year. Grady Jarrett, like you said, he's callousing his body. He's getting in there. He's working his lather up. But yeah, definitely leadership and identity. I think that's necessary, especially on defense. You need somebody you need those dogs. And for my years watching Grady Jarrett in Atlanta, dog. Junkyard dog. That's what he is. He gonna talk. He gonna bring intensity. He's gonna get fired up. He's not gonna lay down while you push him around. That's the Grady Jarrett I've seen in the NFL. And I just hope that translates. He brings that same Grady Jarrett here to Chicago, even if he can't be the same player he was in Atlanta. Give me 80% of Grady Jarrett, and I'm happy.
What he learned and what he showed you in Atlanta, obviously, I mean, Yin Yang Twins from Atlanta, balls to the wall. I mean, you hear that a lot. But what you saw in Atlanta, you saw a guy who was a Pro Bowl player, 3 technique, which the Bears have been looking for. I think him just taking from that clip that we heard, he will be an excellent role model for Javon Dexter.
Indeed.
Because Grady Jarrett this will be his 11th season, 12th season.
Yeah, I think something like that. He's 31.
Yeah, this will be his 11th season. Okay. So he's not here. He's not going to be here forever. He might end his career as a Bear. We understand that eventually the torch has got to pass to Javon Dexter. Another one of those Ryan Post draft picks. You said they got to start panning out at some point.
Yeah.
Javon Dexter, he showed the flashes. He's got the guy who he can pattern his game off of. It's that time, G. That mindset and the readiness, again, callusing the body. You got to make sure, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. We got to make sure we are ready to roll every time we walk out onto the grass. Every time we walk out onto the grass, the turf, whichever the case may be, it's time to get work done. We punch in the clock and we've been put in 4 to 5 hours of work. And I like that. Because one of the things that we saw out of the Matt Nagy era, and it kind of bled over to the Eberflus era, guys not working during the summer. Guys not doing anything at camp. Guys not playing in preseason. Grady Jarrett said, again, callusing the body. This is how you get ready to be dominant during the season. You got to do it now. Callus the body. Anybody can get it. As you heard, he's chasing. He said he's going to give the offense shit. He's going to give Caleb shit. But we play into the whistle. We going hard, balls to the wall. And after that, we can be friends again. But when you strap it up, when you strap the helmet up, it's time to play big boy football.
And you mentioned Grady Jarrett being a positive influence on Javon Dexter. I'll take it one step further. I think Grady Jarrett, with his intensity that he brings and his intensity, and there's also maturity. I'm going to get after Caleb Williams, but you still my dog. You know, I'm going to get after it, but within the whistles. I think a guy who can also learn from him is Tyreek Stevenson, a guy who's told the line and let his intensity get the best of him at times. So I think just not only with Javon Dexter, but with Tyreek Stevenson, this could be a great influence and role model for a guy like Tyreek, who's had trouble balancing that aggressiveness with knowing when to, relax. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's another positive about Grady Jarrett coming here.
Anything you looking forward to?
I'm looking for the 7-on-7s and the 11-on-11s. I want to see how the offense looks against this Dennis Allen defense, because Dennis Allen defense is going to get after. They're going to give you a bunch of different looks. They're going to pressure you. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to, we didn't get to see Colston Loveland and Luther Burden much in OTAs. Luther went down with a soft tissue injury. Colston Loveland was ramping up. I'm really interested to see them in practice, how they're used, because we don't really know yet. We don't know if Colson's going to be maybe the number one tight end, alternating with Cole Kmet, part of two tight end sets. If the Bears going to run three wide receiver sets, if Luther is going to be ahead of the guy from the Commanders, I don't want to butcher his name right now, Oladeus Zaki. I've seen his name for years in fantasy. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how these young rookies are going to look. And I'm also very interested in the left tackle position battle. Those are the things I want to see, in addition to Caleb Williams. So those are the three things that I'm really got my eyes on all of training camp.
And as I said a couple of times on the show, that left tackle battle is going to be immense. The importance of that is you can't even state it, right? So I'm definitely paying attention to that as the weeks move on, and I'm monitoring where Jalen Johnson gets back from his injury.
Yeah, more on that left tackle position. I think you said it's a bad thing if Braxton Jones doesn't win or it's knocks the line of it. I think the worst thing is if Kyron Amagachi wins. I said not to give up on him earlier, but I think if he wins, that's the scariest thing. Bear down.
Bear down.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say three things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.